Today we'll embark on a journey to better understand ourselves and grow internally. In this one-hour video, we'll learn about Stoicism, a way of thinking that has helped many people find true happiness, wisdom, and inner peace. We'll explore various aspects of Stoicism, from the wise ideas of Marcus Aurelius to the fundamental principles that can improve our lives. We'll discover how to be happy by accepting what happens to us in life and learning to embrace everything fate has to offer. If this is your first time seeing my channel, please subscribe and like the video. This way I can make more videos like this in the future. We'll explore how to better understand our lives so we can make clearer decisions and find peace amidst chaos. We'll also look at 6 things to avoid in order to stay calm and not lose our heads. We'll learn how to take control of our lives by using routines that have been proven effective throughout history to help us stay calm and become stronger inside. We'll see how to apply the ideas of Marcus Aurelius to make our days fuller and more productive, and how to avoid procrastination using Stoicism as a guide. So, without further ado, let's begin our journey to a more fulfilling and meaningful life. In today's fast-paced world, finding a solid purpose can be difficult, but don't worry, Stoicism has the solution. Explore this ancient wisdom and learn how to create a daily routine that helps you find balance, growth, and peace. Stoicism can be your friend on the path to a better life. This philosophy has stood the test of time and is still useful in helping you become stronger, calmer, and happier. Get ready to transform your life by joining us on the adventure of self-discovery as we learn to create a morning and evening routine that will help you achieve great things. Wake up every morning energized and excited. Remember the 4 important virtues: wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. These virtues will help you make wise and courageous decisions and always find balance in your life. Gratitude will be your special friend. Be thankful for all the good things, experiences, and people who make your life better. You'll find that when you're grateful, you feel happier and no longer feel dissatisfaction. Prepare for the day with a positive attitude. Imagine the problems that might arise and prepare yourself calmly and wisely to handle them. Keep a journal in which you record your goals, feelings, and thoughts. This journal will help you remember what you're doing and keep you on track, even when you face challenges. You're now ready to face the world with confidence. You'll learn to stay focused and productive despite all distractions. You'll treat others with fairness and kindness and open your heart to understand people better. You'll handle stress calmly, knowing that you can only control what's within your control. Wisdom will help you. When evening falls, it's time to rest. Reflect on the day's events, learn from your experiences, and continue to improve. Accept that we are imperfect and commit to being better each day. Set goals for the next day and plan how you will courageously approach them. A future filled with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-mastery awaits. Be the creator of your life, using Stoicism as your guide. Tailor your path to success, to your dreams, values, and daily commitments. Stoicism is flexible. Make it your own. Maintain your enthusiasm for practicing Stoicism and create a consistent daily routine. Stoicism will help you grow and improve. Discover how to apply Stoicism to all aspects of your life, including your relationships, work, and personal projects. In a world full of change and uncertainty, Stoicism helps you maintain balance, strength, and inner peace. Live with purpose and clarity. Move forward with confidence. Wisdom will guide you, and each day will provide opportunities to grow and learn. May clarity and calm always be with you as you pursue a fulfilling and meaningful life. Be grateful and awaken with a heart full of joy and abundance, with the 4 virtues guiding your path. Focus on all the good things in your life. You'll find that gratitude and appreciation will make any feelings of dissatisfaction disappear. When you're truly grateful, you'll start the day with a sense of happiness. Appreciate what's truly important. Be grateful for all the good things and maintain the habit of giving thanks, because everything has helped you move forward, and for that, you should be grateful. As Emerson said, prepare for the day by thinking about the problems that might arise. Imagine the possible obstacles and how you might face them. But don't worry, you'll be prepared to face them with wisdom, courage, justice, and self-control. By thinking about these problems and how you might overcome them, you'll become stronger and ready to adapt and grow without being deterred by the problems. Now is the time to put your wisdom and reflections on paper. Keep a journal. It's a powerful tool used by historians like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius. Take a few minutes each morning to write about your intentions, feelings, and observations. In doing so, you'll create a beacon of wisdom and warmth that will guide you through the challenges of modern life. As we navigate the ever-changing landscape of daily life, we may experience moments that test our resolve. But don't worry, Stoicism has the answer. Through a series of historical strategies, you will maintain balance, cultivate your resilience, and navigate life's journey with grace and strength. Imagine you're in the middle of a storm, the wind blowing fiercely and the rain pounding relentlessly. You feel overwhelmed by the chaos around you. In such moments, it's easy to lose yourself in despair and stress, thinking that everything is out of control. But this is where the wisdom within us all comes into play. When stress strikes and everything seems out of control, remember that you hold a source of calm and clarity within you. It's as if you have an inner beacon guiding you through the storm. Instead of being swept away by the waves of chaos, seek refuge in reason and reflection. Ask yourself, what can I control in this situation? What is beyond my reach? Imagine you're trying to solve a complicated problem at work or in your personal life. Instead of focusing on what you can't change, such as other people's decisions or external factors, focus your energy on what you can control. This might be your attitude, your reactions, or the way you behave in the face of adversity. This way you'll respond to stress with greater composure and resilience. The key is learning to recognize what you can control and what you can't. Imagine your life like a garden. Some things, like the weather, are beyond your control, but you can decide how you care for the plants, what you water, and what you prune. This is how we should approach our challenges too. Not everything is controllable, but our decisions and reactions are always within our hands. Epictetus, the wise Stoic, reminds us that true power lies not in changing the world around us, but in how we respond to it. Gratitude and resilience are not found in external appearances, but in how we choose to handle each situation. Stoicism offers you a compass to navigate through life, guiding you with its wisdom so that you can find peace and inner strength in every storm. So when you feel stress overwhelming you, turn to your inner beacon. Recognize what you can control, accept what you can't change, and act with the wisdom and calm offered by your own inner sense. Wisdom and peace are always within you, waiting to be discovered and applied in every moment of your life. Wake up every morning knowing that every day is an opportunity to learn, grow, and become stronger. Approach life with purpose and clarity to live a fulfilling and meaningful life. Use distractions as an opportunity to be more productive. In modern life, distractions are ubiquitous, but, like the brave man in the story, practice self-discipline and self-control. When distractions arise, accept them, but refocus your attention on what you're doing. This will help you stay calm and use your mind to achieve your goals. Be fair, wise, and compassionate in your dealings with others. Every encounter is an opportunity to make a good impression. Be aware of how your words and actions affect those around you. Learn and grow with each interaction to better understand others. Today, you will face problems with ungrateful, disloyal, and selfish people. But these problems come from these people's lack of understanding of good and bad. I, for one, know what is right and wrong, and I know that we are all here to help one another, like parts of one body. Don't let what bothers you get you down, because no one can drag you into what is bad. Don't be angry with others, because we are all here to help one another. Bothering or upsetting others is against nature, and anger is a form of irritation. Marcus Aurelius teaches us to face difficulties and be strong. In life, we encounter problems and difficult moments that can make us stronger or make us feel bad. Like the brave man in the story, you should see these problems as opportunities to grow. Be courageous and approach difficulties calmly by using negative visualization. Trust in your ability to overcome the challenges you have developed over time. In this way, you transform problems into important lessons that will help you grow and achieve your goals. When evening falls, it's time to reflect. As the sun sets and the day comes to an end, look within. Reflect on what happened during the day, identifying problems, decisions, and lessons learned. As Seneca said, review your mistakes and what you did each day, because it helps us improve. Often, we don't pay attention to what we did. We only think about what we will do next. Therefore, our plan for the future comes from the past. Forgive yourself and keep striving to improve. Learn from your mistakes and commit to continuing to grow. Maintain inner peace and accept who you are as you move forward. Before the new day dawns, consider what you want to achieve and how you can use the virtues to make good decisions. This way, you will create a life that is meaningful and guided by the principles of Stoicism. As night falls, take some time to relax before going to sleep. You can use techniques such as deep breathing or visualizing calming objects. This will help you relax your mind and body and leave the stress of the day behind. You will have a restful sleep and be prepared for the next day by seeing each new day as an opportunity to learn and improve. The world offers us both good and bad things. Sometimes we find joy, love, health, and happiness, but we also struggle with sadness, pain, illness, and problems. Life is like a river we can't control, and often we just drift. Epictetus said, "Don't fight what happens to you, but accept it, for only by accepting what happens will you find peace." In this Stoicism, accepting what happens is called amor fati. It means loving life as it is, with all its joys and sorrows, as if it were the greatest gift. It sounds easy, but it's difficult to accomplish. How can one love suffering or pain? Loving tiredness doesn't actually mean liking suffering, but rather accepting everything that happens to one, whether good or bad. It means seeing every experience as an opportunity to learn and grow. Stoicism teaches us to accept everything with calm and gratitude. In this way, we find inner peace and the strength to overcome every difficulty. Thus, amor fati becomes a light that guides us through life's difficult moments. It may seem strange to be grateful for difficult things like the death of a loved one or to find beauty in pain. But the Stoics knew what they were saying. They believed that loving life with all its ups and downs is the best path to true happiness. Marcus Aurelius said, "Love your fate, no matter what it looks like, for only by accepting everything that happens can you find true peace." It's about loving your whole life, even your mistakes and failures, for they are opportunities to learn and grow wiser. Amor fati is one of the most difficult things to practice in Stoicism. But difficult doesn't mean impossible. It just means it requires great effort. The things that are difficult to achieve are often the most worthwhile. Therefore, it's important that we try with all our might. In this video, I'll try to help you practice amor fati so you can become happier and live a better life. First, I'll explain what fate means to a Stoic and why it's important to accept it. Then, I'll give you 5 tips on how to practice this idea and stay on the right path. Imagine the universe is like a giant clock with every cog, wheel, and hand working in perfect synchrony. The ancient Stoics believed that everything in the cosmos is governed by precise and rational laws, just as the parts of a clock work together to determine time. For them, there was no room for chance or coincidence. Everything had a reason for existence, a purpose, and an internal order. This cosmic clock, according to the Stoics, governs not only the external world, but also the internal world of each of us. They believed that within our consciousness, there exists a spark of the same rational law that keeps the universe in balance. It is as if each of us has a small internal clock that guides us to virtue and reason. If we follow this inner guidance, we align ourselves with the universal order and become wiser and more virtuous. If, on the other hand, we ignore this guidance and act contrary to what our conscience tells us, we stray from harmony and fall into irrationality. The concept of fate in Stoic philosophy is based on this idea of cosmic order. According to this idea, every event in our lives, whether good or bad, is interwoven into the great tapestry of the universe. Even though it may sometimes seem that things happen without meaning, or that we have no control over them, the Stoics teach us that everything follows a deep logic. This logic may be difficult to understand at the moment, but it always makes sense. For example, when faced with a challenge or difficulty, instead of despairing or fighting against the tide, look beyond your own suffering and accept that there is order within chaos. Imagine you are in the middle of a storm. It can be frightening and unsettling, but if you trust that the storm has a purpose and will eventually subside, you can remain calm and face it with serenity. Loving our own destiny means accepting that while we can't always understand or control what happens to us, it's all part of a larger, perfect plan. In difficult times, this perspective helps us find inner peace and live with greater serenity, knowing that every experience has a place in the grand plan of the universe. In short, the Stoics urge us to see our lives as part of a cosmic clock, to follow the guidance of our conscience, and to accept our fate with calm and gratitude. In this way, we align ourselves with the universal order and find meaning in every moment, even the most difficult. It's important to understand the difference between acceptance and resignation. Resignation means giving up and doing nothing if you don't like something. Acceptance, on the other hand, means accepting what happens and acting accordingly. A Stoic, i.e., someone who follows Stoicism, avoids resignation and chooses to accept what happens. With acceptance, it's important to remember that we can't always control everything. Things like health, disasters, or even life and death are beyond our control. We can't change them, so we shouldn't worry about them too much. The only thing we can control is how we think about what's happening and how we act. As Epictetus said, the will, which is our way of deciding and acting, can control itself, but it cannot control anything else. We have the power to choose how we respond to what happens to us. We can either accept what happens to us or resist it. In Stoicism, good and evil depend on our attitude. Marcus Aurelius said the same thing. The essence of good and evil lies in how we use our will. This means that in any situation, we can choose whether we want good or evil. For example, if we are sick, we can strive to get well and live as well as we can even while sick, or we can give up, resent ourselves, and neglect ourselves. If we strive to be virtuous and do what is right, our life, even though it contains good and bad things, will make us better. This is how we will learn the 4 Stoic virtues. Good times will make us happy, but we must remember that they don't last forever. As I said in my video on temperance, this too shall pass. Difficult moments make us strong and help us improve. Even though they are hard, they ultimately make us better people. Remember that these difficult moments too will pass, and that they are just as important as the good moments. Therefore, to practice amor fati, that is, to accept and love what happens to us, we must also be courageous. We must face life's storms with courage. Those who practice amor fati therefore also master justice and wisdom, learn to give each moment what it needs, understand the law that governs the world, and realize that one's destiny is the best gift for a happy life. The idea of amor fati utilizes the 4 Stoic virtues and encourages us to give the best of ourselves. It means loving our destiny and understanding that our life is the best opportunity to practice virtue and live a fulfilling life. Don't you think that a life without challenges and the pursuit of happiness would be less valuable? Moreover, true happiness cannot be found without making sacrifices and accepting what we have. We must love our destiny and align our actions with what reason tells us, for that is the Stoic path to true and perfect happiness. To conclude the video, I'd like to share with you some quotes about amor fati, the idea of accepting and loving what happens to you. Seneca said, "Fate guides those who accept it and drags those who refuse to see it." He also mentioned that the worst fate is the one who never faces problems because they don't have the opportunity to show their strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "It is natural for people to love and accept what fate has given them." And Epictetus said, "Don't try to make things happen the way you want them to. Rather, accept what happens, and your life will be good." What do you think of the Stoic idea of amor fati? Are you comfortable accepting what happens to you? Is there a situation in your life that you find difficult to accept, or one that you have accepted as it is? A person will be free when they understand and accept the bonds they have. Then they can choose to break them if they wish. In the fast-paced and constantly changing world we live in, we sometimes fall into habits that are not only bad, but also harmful. The Stoics said it's important to focus on what we can control and not be carried away by uncontrolled impulses and desires. Today, I want to share with you 6 harmful habits that are widespread today. These habits can cause us to lose our peace of mind, fail to grow as people, and fail to live properly. Before I talk about these habits, I want to encourage you to look at yourself as if you were observing someone else. This will help you identify which of these 6 bad habits are affecting you and push you to take responsibility for changing them. The first is procrastination. We all have this habit. While it may seem harmless, it can lead to important tasks not being completed and the quality of our work being compromised, damaging our reputation. For the Stoics, it was very important that we be punctual and fulfill our commitments. They believed that procrastination is a major lack of self-respect. When we procrastinate, we fill ourselves with stress and anxiety. Imagine you have a mountain of tasks to complete and the clock is ticking against the deadline. The pressure to meet all these deadlines can feel overwhelming, as if you're trapped in a never-ending race. This constant focus on tasks and deadlines not only drains our energy, but also affects our mental and physical health, robbing us of clarity and inner peace. Instead of tackling a mountain of work all at once, break it down into smaller hills that you can climb day by day. For example, if you have a large project, instead of putting it off until the last minute, divide it into manageable chunks and create a schedule for working on them. This way you can avoid last-minute stress and maintain a calmer mind. The habit of procrastination, also known as procrastination, can be destructive. It contradicts the tenets of Stoicism, which teaches us the importance of self-discipline and fulfilling our duties. When we procrastinate, we not only waste time but also increase our stress and anxiety. To combat procrastination, it's helpful to plan and focus on our tasks and values. For example, instead of promising yourself to do something in a moment of excitement, such as when you're very excited or euphoric, you should take time to reflect calmly. Decisions made in moments of high emotion are often driven more by the excitement of the moment than by clear, reflective thinking. Another habit that can lead to problems is making promises you can't keep, often out of a desire to please others or out of your own enthusiasm. Before committing, take some quiet time to reflect and make sure you can keep the promise. Don't get caught up in the immediate enthusiasm, but carefully consider what you can actually achieve. Another important factor in maintaining mental clarity and avoiding stress is honesty. Being honest with yourself and others avoids confusion and emotional turmoil. Honesty allows you to build trusting relationships and helps you better manage your tasks. In short, if you approach your tasks in an organized manner, avoid impulsive decisions and practice honesty, you'll be able to keep your mind calm and focused. This way, you'll not only be able to manage your work better, but you'll also live with greater serenity and balance by following the principles of self-discipline and focus that Stoicism promotes. And if you enjoy the content, consider becoming a member of the channel. In addition to supporting the channel, you'll also have access to exclusive content. Click the link in the description and become a member now. Back to content. Lies can keep the liar trapped in their own fears. When we lie, we damage the truth and our own honesty. The Stoics believed that honesty and truth are very important for a good life. When we lie, we distance ourselves from these values and also damage our own trust. Lies can cause people to lose trust in us, and once someone uncovers a lie, it is very difficult to regain that trust. The Stoics believe that trust and mutual respect are essential for good relationships. Another bad habit is believing everything we hear without questioning it. If we don't ask questions and verify information, we can easily be manipulated. It's important to verify what we hear, compare different sources, and form our own opinions. If we don't think for ourselves, we can make wrong decisions. The fourth bad habit is the lack of good communication skills. Speaking and listening well is very important for our relationships with friends and at work. These days, conversations are often very superficial, and people don't really listen to others. Not knowing how to communicate well can lead to misunderstandings and problems. The Stoics placed great value on harmony in their relationships, and poor communication can make this difficult. To improve, you can read more and practice listening well to others. Instead of thinking about what you want to say, pay attention to what the other person is saying. With practice, you'll become increasingly better at communicating. The fifth bad habit is constantly comparing ourselves to others. It's normal to look at what other people are doing, but if we obsess about it, we can feel bad about ourselves. Comparing ourselves to others can lead to dissatisfaction, envy, and low self-esteem. Instead of thinking about what others have or have done, we should focus on our own abilities and achievements. This habit prevents us from appreciating the good in ourselves and from trying to be like others instead of being ourselves. To overcome this, we must learn to appreciate what we have and accept ourselves as we are. Gratitude and self-acceptance help maintain a positive attitude. The sixth bad habit is not setting boundaries in life. Setting boundaries is very important for good relationships and good self-esteem. The Stoics believed that discipline and self-control are the key to a good life. If you don't set boundaries, you can feel drained and overwhelmed because others can take advantage of you. It's important to learn to say no when necessary and to establish clear rules for your relationships and daily life. Setting boundaries not only helps you feel better, but also strengthens your relationships because everyone knows what you can and can't do. When you accept yourself and learn to set healthy boundaries, you can live by your values and have happier, more meaningful relationships. In short, these 6 bad habits can prevent you from maintaining peace of mind, growing as a person and living a good life. By becoming aware of these habits and working to change them, you can have a more positive attitude, healthier relationships, and a happier life. By practicing self-acceptance, being grateful, communicating well, and setting personal boundaries, you can live by Stoic principles and find more contentment and happiness in your life. If you always want to be better than others, you may feel bad and dissatisfied with your life. Constantly comparing yourself to others can make you unhappy because there will always be someone who seems to have more success, money, or talent. Stoic philosophers teach us to focus on our own growth and appreciate what we already have, instead of comparing ourselves to others. Comparing ourselves too much with others can lead to losing who we really are because we are trying to change just to meet other people's expectations. Remember that this is not helpful in the long run because you may pretend to be someone else, but in the end, you will be who you really are. The Stoics encourage us to stay true to ourselves and live by our own values and principles. Imagine constantly comparing yourself to your work colleagues and feeling like you're never good enough. This can make you feel tired, dissatisfied, and far removed from who you really are. Comparing yourself to others is a bad habit that takes you away from your true self. This changes when you understand that it's not worth always looking to others because you already have what you need in your life. If you don't find what you're looking for in your life, you can always look elsewhere. Accept that there's no point in comparing yourself because you'll never have everything others have. You'll be much happier if you focus on improving compared to yesterday and comparing yourself with yourself. Many people today blame others for what happens in their lives. Instead of taking responsibility for what happens to them, they prefer to point the finger at someone else. This causes us to lose control of our own lives. The Stoics teach us that it's important to know what things we can and cannot control. If we don't understand this, we can begin to feel like victims and become too dependent on others to feel good about ourselves. When we blame others for what happens in our lives, we don't learn from our mistakes and grow. We lack personal responsibility. The Stoics remind us to understand and accept what we can control and to take responsibility for it, rather than blaming others for our circumstances. As valuable human beings, we must become aware of these behaviors and work to overcome them in order to live a life of virtue, wisdom, and inner peace. Reflect on these habits in your own life and strive to change them. You are the one who decides how you want to live. Improving yourself as a person doesn't mean completely eliminating old ideas, but rather analyzing them to decide which ones to follow, which ones to leave behind, and which new principles to add to your way of life. These principles often come from Judeo-Christian thought. Forgive others and ask for forgiveness in return. Treat others as you would like to be treated. Don't covet what others have, and be grateful for the good things you do have. Remember that sometimes we worry more in our imagination than in reality. After exploring the teachings of Socrates and immersing himself in the world of philosophy, Zeno was inspired by Citium to found the school of Stoicism. This philosophical approach teaches us a valuable lesson. While we can't always control what happens to us in life, we can choose how we respond. Instead of allowing external circumstances to derail us, Stoicism encourages us to take control of our own minds and emotions. Imagine that one day, while working on your most important project, you accidentally spill a glass of milk on your important documents. Instead of becoming frustrated and mourning the loss, Stoicism teaches us to remain calm and approach the situation with serenity. Zeno, the founder of Stoicism, didn't let external chaos get the better of him. Instead of being troubled by lost assets or unexpected difficulties, he focused on maintaining a calm and poised demeanor. Today, Stoics are often portrayed as steadfast individuals, as if they were capable of remaining completely calm in the face of all adversities. However, the true essence of Stoicism goes beyond simple steadfastness. It is a way of seeing and understanding the world around us, a profound philosophy that helps us better understand life's situations and respond to them more consciously. Stoicism is not just an ancient theory, but a practical philosophy that also has relevance for modern life. It provides us with tools to process negative emotions and adverse experiences and transform them into opportunities for personal growth. By adopting a Stoic perspective, we can transform difficulties into valuable lessons and find clarity amidst confusion. Over the centuries, Stoicism has proven itself a solid guide for living a balanced and purposeful life. It reminds us that while we cannot control everything that happens, we can choose how to face these challenges with a calm mind and a resilient heart. In this way, Stoicism gives us a unique perspective on the world and helps us face life with greater wisdom and serenity, just as Zeno did thousands of years ago. Perspective truly is everything. Every person in the world has had their own unique experiences, which lead to different perspectives and a different understanding of life. Imagine you are in a large marketplace filled with people from all corners of the globe. Each of them has a different story to tell, a unique perspective on what is happening around them. Likewise, our views are influenced by our personal experiences, and these vary greatly from person to person. The Stoics, with their wisdom and deep convictions, knew that the exchange of perspectives can enrich everyone. In ancient Greece, they met in public spaces like the Agora, a large open space where citizens from all walks of life could listen, discuss, and learn. The principles of Stoicism were not reserved for an exclusive elite. Rather, it was believed that they could benefit everyone, regardless of social status. Thus, the Stoics included everyone in their discussions and teachings, from the humble worker to the powerful emperor. Among the most famous Stoics was Epictetus, who began his life as a slave. Despite his condition, Epictetus became a leading philosopher and statesman, proving that true power and dignity depend on the individual's choice of how they live and think, not on external circumstances. Then we have Marcus Aurelius, a Roman emperor who ruled with great authority but was also a fervent follower of Stoic philosophy. For Marcus Aurelius, Stoicism was not only a personal guide, but also a tool for ruling with justice and wisdom. These early Stoics lived by their teachings and advocated for equality and human dignity. Indeed, they pioneered the idea that we are all citizens of the same world. The word cosmopolitan, coined by them, literally means citizen of the world. This revolutionary idea promoted the notion that all people, regardless of their background or status, share equal humanity and should be treated with respect and justice. Thus, Stoicism offered not only a philosophy of life, but also a model for action that transcended the social boundaries of its time. Its legacy remains relevant today, reminding us that true greatness lies in our ability to live with integrity and empathy for others. By understanding and practicing these teachings, we can view the world from a broader perspective and be inspired by the wisdom of those who came before us. In the past, when Stoicism emerged, women were not allowed to study philosophy, but the Stoics disagreed with this. Musonius Rufus, Epictetus's teacher, said, "Not only men want to be virtuous, but women too. Women are just as willing to do good and righteous deeds as men, and they also reject evil. So why do many people choose to live according to Stoicism? In a world full of surprises, our emotions sometimes make life difficult for us. We don't get sad because bad things happen, but because we don't expect them. Rain, for example, is good because it promotes plant growth and keeps the air fresh. But standing in the rain without an umbrella isn't pleasant. We don't cry when it starts to rain, because we know that rain is something that happens and we can't control it. Eventually, the rain will stop and the sun will come back." Stoicism teaches us that we should be prepared to accept bad things when they happen. One Stoic exercise is to voluntarily do unpleasant things, such as sleeping on the floor, taking cold showers when we normally take warm ones, or eating only potatoes for a few days. This helps us realize that we can survive and cope even in difficult situations if we think correctly. By enduring these uncomfortable things, we train our minds for future problems. Today, advertising suggests to us that we'll only be happy if we're the best, look particularly good, or have a lot of money. The message of Stoicism is very important today. We are born knowing little and we learn at home, at school, and by observing the world. The problem is that these learning methods teach us different things. If we're not careful, we can have unrealistic expectations and be disappointed. We can't live happily that way. We should focus on improving ourselves, doing things for ourselves, and for that reason alone. If we expect external things to make us happy, like a nice car, a big house, or a family, we can end up disappointed. Sometimes we try to fill that emptiness with external things instead of finding happiness in the effort we put into our work. Stoicism teaches us to value our work for the effort we put into it, not for what we expect from it. We must trust the process. Living with less means letting go of the things that bind us to the expectations of others. This is the Stoic approach to solving our problems and finding happiness. We must learn to value ourselves by focusing on the things we can control. When we let go of our obsession with things we cannot change, we can live happier and more fulfilling lives. Stoicism helps us overcome difficulties and find inner peace in the midst of storms. Although this philosophy is very ancient, its teachings are still useful today. It shows us how to be emotionally strong and accept the things we cannot change. Philosophers such as Seneca, Epictetus, and Marcus Aurelius believed that true happiness lies not in avoiding problems, but in being virtuous and controlling our emotions, even when we are facing difficulties. They taught that we should focus on what we can control, such as our attitudes and choices, and accept what we cannot change, such as our lack of control. B. External events and the behavior of other people. In this way, we can find lasting inner peace. The search for meaning and purpose is something all human beings do. When we study existentialist philosophers like Sartre and Nietzsche, we learn how to find a path that aligns with our deepest values. Stoicism also reminds us of the importance of relationships and community. By studying thinkers like Aristotle, we learn how to build genuine connections and nurture our relationships along the way. Although the Stoics focus on developing virtue and self-control, they don't believe that we should isolate ourselves or be indifferent to others. Rather, they encourage us to live in harmony with our surroundings, contribute positively to our community, and form meaningful relationships. Stoicism is much more than a philosophy. It's a guide to finding inner peace amidst life's chaos. Imagine yourself in the middle of a storm, with raging winds and incessant rain. While everyone around you struggles to keep up, Stoicism teaches you to remain serene, like a calm lighthouse in a storm. It invites us to discover a true happiness that doesn't depend on external circumstances, but arises from our own attitude and outlook. Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, wrote extensively about the importance of human relationships. In his letters and essays, he treated friendship not just as a pleasure, but as one of life's most valuable assets. For Seneca, a true friendship was one built on shared values and similar goals, a bond that transcends words and is based on a sincere commitment to mutual support. Imagine having a friend who not only celebrates your moments of success, but also stands by you during the difficult times. This kind of relationship, Seneca argued, is a treasure that enriches our lives in ways that material goods never could. Furthermore, Seneca emphasized the importance of being useful to others. He believed that our true fulfillment and happiness are found in our contribution to society and in the ways we help others. Instead of focusing solely on our own goals and desires, he urged us to look beyond ourselves and make a positive contribution to the world around us. Imagine a community in which each individual genuinely cares about the well-being of others. In such a community, everyone benefits, and the social fabric is strengthened, creating a more harmonious and enriching environment for all. Stoicism and other philosophies recognize that human relationships are the foundation for a fulfilling and meaningful life. They encourage us to develop authentic relationships that foster our moral and spiritual growth. Instead of seeking satisfaction in superficial achievements or material possessions, these philosophies invite us to invest in our relationships and in our community. In doing so, we not only enrich our own lives, but also contribute to a more just and harmonious world. So as you embark on your personal journey of self-discovery and growth, remember that true peace and happiness come from within, and that genuine relationships with others are an essential pillar of a meaningful life. Cultivate relationships that support and challenge you to be the best version of yourself, and you'll find yourself transforming not only your own life, but also the world around you. Our journey is almost over, but the path to a strong and authentic life is just beginning. By harnessing the ancient ideas of philosophy, you will have the tools to face any challenge and live with sincerity, purpose, and strength. Join us on this adventure to excel and achieve your goals. Sign up, share, and begin your journey to becoming truly strong by using Stoic philosophy to live a modern and fulfilling life. In this video, I want to talk to you about something we all experience in the morning. When we wake up, we often don't feel like going to work or school. We spend the day wanting to go home and rest, or we think about the weekend and the dread we feel before its arrival. It's common to hate Mondays because we know we have a week full of work and obligations ahead of us. This unpleasant feeling causes many people to feel unmotivated and unwilling to do anything. Unfortunately, this behavior can lead to depression or a very unhappy feeling. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius spoke about this topic in his Meditations. Marcus Aurelius reigned from 161 to 180 AD. He was the most powerful ruler in the world at the time. He kept a diary in which he recorded his thoughts, and after his death his reflections were published as the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. In one of his meditations he wrote, "If you find it difficult to get up in the morning, remember, as a human being, I have to go to work. What's wrong with fretting about what I have to do, or staying under the covers instead of doing my chores looking for more warmth? But is that better than keeping warm?" Then Marcus Aurelius is talking to himself and asking, "Is that what you were born to do, to stay warm under the covers? I don't think so, but to do what human beings are meant to do, to give their best every time they do something, and to do what they are meant to do, just as bees do what they are meant to do and vines do what they are meant to do. So are we not doing what is right for us as human beings? Are we not valuing ourselves enough to do what is natural for us? Are we not valuing what is in keeping with our own nature?" Marcus Aurelius reminds us of a profound truth about self-love and respect for our nature. In his writings, he invites us to reflect on the fact that if we truly love ourselves, we would also love what our true essence demands. But what does it mean to love our own essence? Imagine being so passionate about something that it completely absorbs you, like a painter so engrossed in their work that they forget about time and basic needs like eating or resting. This devotion isn't just a sign of enthusiasm, but an expression of a deep respect for the process and art itself. Marcus Aurelius uses this image to teach us that if we truly loved our own being, we would devote our energy and passion to the things that truly matter to us. We wouldn't be distracted by superficial or trivial things, but would focus on our true aspirations and what gives us a sense of completeness and fulfillment. Imagine a sculptor working on a masterpiece. His dedication is so intense that he often forgets to eat or sleep. The sculpture is not just a project, it is an extension of his being, an expression of his essence. A dancer immersed in dance can forget time and hunger because he is following a calling that fills him with joy and meaning. Similarly, when we find and follow our authentic passions, we feel a deep connection to our true nature. In this total surrender, we find an example of true self-love. It is a love that is not limited to superficial self-care, but is manifested in our devotion to what truly matters to us and in our willingness to sacrifice fleeting pleasures for what is deeply meaningful. This kind of self-love propels us to live in alignment with our deepest values, to do what we are truly passionate about, and to dedicate ourselves to our goals with an intensity that reflects a true respect for our inner nature. So as you reflect on your own interests and goals, remember Marcus Aurelius's lesson: love your inner being deeply. Spend time and effort on what truly excites and fulfills you, and you'll find that in doing so, you'll not only respect and honor your true self, but also move closer to living a more fulfilling and authentic life. But there's also a downside. If you've been trying to break free from conformity and ignorance for a long time and can't seem to find any way to do it, then perhaps it's due to other reasons you don't know what the root cause is. But I know what it is. It's fear. Fear comes like a silent cobra and poisons you without you noticing. It leaves you infected for days, months, and even years. And when you have it, it's like living with it. However, there is an antidote from stomach medicine that, together with modern psychology, can free you from all of this, just as it freed me. I made a video showing how to get rid of this poison in your life. It's in the first comment. Click the link in the first comment and heal yourself of this poison of fear. When Marcus Aurelius speaks of work, he isn't just referring to the work we do in a job, but to all the things we have to do every day. With this idea, he encourages us to take responsibility for our time and our actions. Consider what would have happened if he hadn't acted the way he did. He probably wouldn't have been remembered as one of the Roman Empire's best emperors. As an emperor, he had to lead, and he couldn't stop doing his job because everyone in the Roman Empire depended on him. This also applies to our lives. We aren't born to do nothing. We are human beings and must behave as such. Don't let the desire for quick pleasure make you forget your responsibilities. There's nothing more satisfying than knowing you've done a job well. The satisfaction of a job well done is unsurpassed. You must get up and get to work. Don't abandon your tasks. The time is now because you don't know how much time you have. Marcus Aurelius wrote this in his diary to remind himself every day. We must do the same. When you don't want to get up in the morning, when you find it difficult to fulfill your responsibilities, when you think about the weekend and feel bad because today is Monday, then remember these words of Marcus Aurelius. Here are 10 historical quotes to help you start the day right. The only way to happiness is to stop worrying about things beyond our control. Cicero. Begin the day by remembering that inner strength is more valuable than anything external. Amudnica. It is not the things that bother us, but the way we see them. Epictetus. Happiness lies in doing the right thing and performing good deeds. Aristotle. Don't expect things to happen the way you want them to. Accept how they happen, and your life will be peaceful. Epictetus. It is not that you have little, but that you desire more. That makes you a slave. Seneca. The mind is everything. What you believe, you become. Buddha. Life is simple, but we insist on complicating it. Confucius. It is not that you have little, but that you desire more. That makes you a slave. Seneca. You can't have a positive life and a negative mind. Joyce Meyer. If you're watching this video, it's probably because procrastination is a major problem in your life. many people struggle with procrastination. When you put off doing what you need to do, many problems arise. Your productivity drops, you feel restless, and you start to shirk your responsibilities. The worst part is the constant feeling that you're not doing what you should be doing. The Stoics were very concerned about procrastination. Stoic philosophers like Seneca and Marcus Aurelius had many commitments and couldn't afford to procrastinate. It's not easy because we often prefer immediate gratification to effort. I've already talked about this in detail in my video on discipline, which I recommend you watch after this one. Because discipline and stopping procrastination are two things that help each other. If you're watching this video, it's because you want to change something in your life. You want to start being productive and controlling your actions and thoughts. Overcoming procrastination will also make you happier. You'll feel more at peace with yourself when you act responsibly. It's amazing that Marcus Aurelius, the Roman emperor and Stoic philosopher, had the same 24 hours a day as you and I to do his work and fulfill his duties. How could he find the time to be emperor, rule the Roman Empire, care for his wife, make laws, attend court hearings, lead armies, and help people during a great plague, all while being righteous and not falling into temptation, all with the same 24 hours we do? The key to Marcus Aurelius's success was that he always followed a routine. He had habits that helped him overcome his laziness and avoid procrastination. The key to avoiding procrastination is a routine. Marcus Aurelius made all his duties an important part of his life. Just as we need to eat, wash, and sleep, he made fulfilling his duties so important that he couldn't live without them. All Stoics, like Aristotle, understood that we are what we do over and over again. Therefore, excellence is not just an act, but something we do regularly. Marcus Aurelius, for example, began his day very early at dawn. When he woke up, he knew he had to get up to do a man's work. He didn't have time to stay in bed. So he began his day by writing in his personal diary, taking a few minutes to organize his thoughts and remember what was important. Then he prepared for his tasks and for the people he would meet throughout the day. He told himself, "The people you will meet today may be unpleasant and frustrating." Marcus Aurelius knew he couldn't let these people cloud his judgment and his happiness. He was clear that he had to act as he believed was right. After that, Marcus Aurelius would begin his most important tasks because he wanted to tackle them when he was rested and ready to work. He would focus on the task in front of him and act as if it were the most important thing. So if you struggle with procrastination, the key is to develop a routine and make your responsibilities an essential habit in your daily life. By doing so, you'll follow the example of great philosophers like Marcus Aurelius and the Stoics, who found the path to productivity and peace of mind through discipline and accountability. Remember that excellence isn't an act, it's a habit. Start developing these habits today and conquer procrastination. Here are 7 tricks to help you avoid procrastination, divided into 2 parts. Part 1. Prepare your mind. Change your focus. Procrastination, the habit of procrastinating, can be a luxury in developed countries. In places where we have many amenities and don't have to struggle with great deprivation to survive, we sometimes forget how valuable our time is. The ease of procrastination arises because we allow ourselves the luxury of procrastination. But if we want to change that, we have to change our perspective. To combat procrastination, it's helpful to speed up our tasks a bit. Imagine you have an important project, but you decide you'll tackle it at a later time. This leads to a tendency toward procrastination. Instead of waiting until the last minute, you can set deadlines for yourself. These self-imposed deadlines help you develop a sense of urgency, as if the clock were counting down against you. When you force yourself to complete a task before the deadline you set, you become more productive and less prone to procrastination. Be supportive. Another effective strategy for overcoming procrastination is enlisting the support of a loved one. Think of a friend or family member who can help you stay on track. You can share your deadlines with them and ask them to remind you if you stray from them. Setting consequences for not keeping your commitments can also be a powerful incentive. For example, you can agree that if you don't complete a task on time, you'll have to complete it with a task you don't like. This creates additional motivation to keep you on track. Having someone to support you not only helps you stick to your plan, but also helps you manage the process better. Shared responsibility can be an effective way to focus and stay away from minor distractions. By involving another person in your process, you make achieving your goals a social and less solitary activity. So instead of letting procrastination take over, change your mindset and seek support. Set yourself deadlines and enlist the help of others to stay on track. With these adjustments, you'll be on the path to a more productive and organized life. When we procrastinate, we often allow ourselves to be distracted by unimportant activities. This means we waste time on things that don't help us move forward. Moreover, we don't even enjoy these distractions because we know we should be doing something else. Therefore, it's better to work first and then enjoy. Organize your tasks. Some tasks are complicated or time-consuming, which can make us feel overwhelmed and procrastinate. If I asked you if you could work for 5 hours without distraction, you probably can't. But could you work for 5 hours without distraction? But could you work for an hour without getting distracted? You probably can, and you could do it for 5 minutes, right? We can all work for 5 minutes at a time. Using this idea for long or difficult tasks, breaking them down into smaller chunks and completing them one at a time, will help us stop procrastinating. Part 2. Actions. Take the first step. For any procrastinator, the biggest obstacle is often taking the first step. It's like looking at a huge mountain and wondering how to climb it. The truth is, the hardest part is just getting started. Imagine you have a daunting task ahead of you, such as writing a long report or cleaning the entire house. Just the thought of the time and effort it will require can be overwhelming and cause us to put the task off again and again. But here's the trick. Instead of focusing on how overwhelming the whole project seems, focus on simply taking the first step. Maybe that first step is as simple as opening the computer or putting the cleaning supplies on the table. Don't think about how long it will take or how big the task is. Just do what it takes to get started. Once you start, you'll have the momentum you need to keep going. The first step is the hardest, but once you've taken it, there's no turning back. It's like being at the beach and jumping into the cold water. The first moment can be shocking, but after that you adjust and enjoy the experience. And once you've taken the first step, you'll likely enter a state of flow where the task seems less daunting. You'll find it's easier to keep going than to start all over again. So don't let the fear of the big and the complex get in the way. Just focus on that first step and the rest will follow. 5-second rule. A simple yet effective technique for combating procrastination is the 5-second rule. I found this trick very useful in my daily life. The rule is as simple as it sounds. When faced with a task that you find unpleasant or difficult, count to 5. From the moment you decide it's time to act, count from 5 to 0, and when you reach 0, start the task without giving it another thought. The trick is to not give your mind time to question or doubt. Counting to 5 acts like a mental reset, eliminating the indecision and anxiety that can arise when facing a difficult task. Instead of letting your thoughts overwhelm you with excuses and fears, count to 5 and force yourself to begin. It's as if you're creating a brief, crucial window of time where action is the only option. Personally, I've found this trick helps me deal with uncomfortable situations and overcome the initial paralysis that often accompanies the tasks I avoid. Whenever I notice myself procrastinating, I count to 5 and start immediately. This quick and direct approach not only makes it easier to take action, but also helps build steady momentum. The more you practice it, the more natural and easier it becomes to overcome procrastination and achieve your goals. Pomodoro technique. This technique helps you divide your work time into smaller chunks so you can complete your tasks more easily. If you think you have 5 hours, it can be difficult to start working. However, if you practice the Pomodoro technique, you will find it easier to get your work done. It consists of working continuously for 25 minutes and then taking a 5-minute break. That's a Pomodoro. After 4 Pomodoros, you take a longer break of 20 minutes and then start again. We can all work for 25 minutes at a time, and if we do 4 Pomodoros, we work with full concentration for 1 hour and 40 minutes and then take a 20-minute break. It's easier to tackle work in 25-minute chunks than trying to work for 1 hour and 40 minutes at a time, because it's easier to concentrate for shorter periods and then rest. Remove distractions. Our brain always looks for the easiest way out. If you have things nearby that can distract you, such as your cell phone or video games, remove them from your workspace. Create a workspace where it's hard to get distracted so you can focus only on your task. First, identify what's distracting you and remove it from your workspace so you won't be able to procrastinate. Remember that to use these tricks well, we need to be disciplined and have the will to improve. Without this will, we won't achieve anything. Loneliness. Now let's talk about something interesting and very important in ancient philosophy: solitude. Ancient people saw solitude as an opportunity to learn more about themselves and grow. Today we'll look at 9 benefits of solitude from a historical perspective and talk about how you can use them in your life today. Before we talk about the benefits, it's good to know a little about Stoicism and the important role that solitude plays in this philosophy. The Stoics valued solitude highly. Contrary to popular belief today, ancient people didn't see solitude as something sad, but rather as a valuable opportunity to reflect, learn more about themselves, and grow as a person. In a world full of noise and distractions, the Stoics believed that solitude was a wise teacher, offering moments of peace and serenity. In these moments, we can face our true feelings, desires, and values without the externals we display in society. The search for self-sufficiency. Ancient people valued self-sufficiency, meaning independence and control over our emotions. They believed that solitude was a good way to learn self-reliance, because when we are alone, we don't have to rely on what others think or expect in order to feel good. Solitude helps us build an inner strength that is unaltered by external influences. Deep self-knowledge. An important theme in ancient philosophy is knowing oneself very well. Solitude offers us a quiet place where we can look within ourselves and explore things in our minds and hearts that we don't normally consider. Consider solitude a mirror that shows us who we truly are. It helps us face the truth about ourselves and discover what truly drives us. By being alone, we can observe how we react, what we fear, what we want, and what our doubts are. Solitude allows us to see ourselves without the opinions of others, without having to pretend or hide anything. Developing independence. Let's talk about a very important topic for older people: developing independence. Have you ever wondered how to find inner peace without being dependent on what's happening around you? The answer may lie in solitude and independence. Older people believed it was important to have an inner strength that wasn't influenced by what was happening around us. Solitude is useful for this because it helps us detach ourselves from the distractions and noise of the world, allowing us to focus on ourselves and not be influenced by what's going on outside. Managing emotions. Now let's move on to managing our emotions, an important topic for everyone. How can you manage your emotions without losing your composure? Solitude can help you with this. Emotions are like the waves of the sea, sometimes calm and sometimes rough. The ancients knew that emotions are a part of life, but they also understood that we must not allow ourselves to be controlled by them. Solitude gives us a quiet place where we can explore our feelings without pressure or judgment from others. Dissociative observation. Imagine that solitude is like a laboratory where you can observe your emotions. When we are alone, we can observe our feelings without being drawn into them. Instead of being swept away by our emotions, we can observe them like clouds passing by in the sky. This distance helps us react more intelligently and not impulsively. Historical technique. Historians themselves have developed powerful techniques for dealing with emotions. One of these is anticipation, in which we imagine difficult situations and practice our calm, rational reactions. Another technique is death meditation, which helps us put our worries into perspective and live in the present moment with gratitude. Historians believed that we can transform our emotions into virtues. For example, we can transform fear into courage, anger into self-discipline, and sadness into resilience. Solitude gives us space to reflect on our emotions, understand their origins, and channel their energy into virtuous actions. Clarity in decision-making. Imagine you are on a starry night, surrounded by a vast sky full of stars. Each star represents a possible decision you must make in your life. Amidst this magnificent panorama, it's easy to get lost in the multitude of possibilities. Confusion sets in when the brilliance of the stars seems too bright and the noise of outside opinions becomes deafening. This is where solitude becomes a reliable guide. Solitude is like the silence of night, providing a quiet space where you can gaze at the stars without distraction. By withdrawing from the noise and commotion of others, you find a place where you can examine each decision with calm and clarity. In this quiet sanctuary, decisions become less overwhelming. The space for reflection allows you to carefully analyze each alternative and listen to your inner voice. This way, you are no longer swept along by external currents, but are at the center of your own decision-making universe, where you can make decisions that truly align with you. Refuge from encouragement. Imagine solitude as a welcome refuge in the midst of a violent storm. When the wind blows fiercely and the rain falls relentlessly, this sanctuary protects you from the inclement weather. Likewise, in difficult times, solitude offers respite from the shrill voices and overwhelming expectations of the outside world. Here, in this personal refuge, you can find solace and security. Solitude becomes a space where you can manage your emotions without the influence of external pressure. It's the place where you can reflect on what's weighing on you, discover new perspectives, and regain the inner strength to overcome challenges. In this sanctuary, you have the time and space to find clarity and make courageous decisions. It's a time to reconnect with yourself and prepare to move forward with renewed determination. Historical consideration of adversity. The Stoics saw adversity as a great opportunity for personal growth. In moments of solitude, you can take a similar historical perspective and ask yourself, what lessons can I learn from this situation? How can I use this challenge to strengthen myself? Solitude provides the perfect environment for transforming difficulties into opportunities for development. Instead of viewing adversity as an impenetrable obstacle, solitude allows you to reflect on how you can use it to cultivate essential virtues such as patience, discipline, and resilience. In this quiet introspection, you can recognize adversity not as an enemy, but as a teacher leading you to a better understanding of yourself and the world. Thus, every challenge becomes a springboard for your personal growth. Mental training in solitude. Just as athletes train their bodies to achieve peak physical performance, solitude allows you to train your mind to face challenges with calm and strength. Imagine an athlete preparing for a competition by imagining the obstacles they will encounter and rehearsing their responses. Similarly, solitude allows you to prepare your mind for potential challenges. The ancient Stoics practiced anticipating difficulties, imagining the obstacles that might arise, and planning how to respond with resilience and independence. This mental training allows you to approach difficult situations with a proactive and calm attitude. In solitude, you can practice your response to adversity and prepare yourself to overcome it with grace and determination. In this way, solitude becomes a gym for your mind, where you strengthen your ability to face life with calm and strength. Appreciation for the simple things. In a world that often drives us to always want more, solitude can be a window to the beauty of simple things. Imagine sitting on a quiet evening, watching the sunrise, feeling the warmth of a cup of tea or listening to the gentle sound of rain. In these moments of solitude, you find deep contentment in the little things that often go unnoticed. Solitude offers you the opportunity to enjoy the simplicity of life and find joy in the present. Instead of being caught up in the constant search for more, you can appreciate what you already have and savor the everyday pleasures. This appreciation of simplicity allows you to connect with a lasting sense of contentment and reminds you that true happiness is not found in material accumulations, but in the moments of calm and simplicity that life offers. Remember that solitude, if we use it consciously and wisely, can teach us important things and help us grow as people. When we look at loneliness from a historical perspective and reflect on ourselves when we are alone, We can find a world of self-knowledge, independence and happiness in the simple things in life. Longing for simplicity. In a world where everyone is constantly searching for new things and buying a lot of things, old people remind us how beautiful it is to live simply. Solitude gives us a space to escape the noise and enjoy the little pleasures we often forget. It helps us appreciate what we already have and find joy in the everyday moments. The relationship between contentment and loneliness is that it gives us the opportunity to ask ourselves whether we really want what we want or whether we are simply trying to have more things without needing them. Historical approach to gratitude. Gratitude is very important in ancient philosophy. When we are alone, we can reflect on the good things we have in our lives, such as health, family, comforts, and the beauty around us. This helps us to be content with what we have now, rather than constantly looking for something better in the future. Promotes inner dialogue. Solitude gives us the opportunity to talk to ourselves and explore our thoughts, desires, and values in peace. We can question our beliefs and look at things from different perspectives. This inner dialogue helps us plan how to apply what we have learned in our daily lives. Connection with nature and the universe. Solitude can help us feel connected to the universe and nature. When we are alone, we can gaze at the stars and feel that we are part of something much greater than ourselves. This connection leads us to reflect on our lives and our role in the world. When we consider how our choices affect us and our environment, we can find inner peace and live a virtuous life. Cultivation of virtue and wisdom. In solitude, we can reflect on how to live correctly in various situations and find peace and tranquility even in the midst of problems. Solitude can guide us on this path and help us find a quiet place to recharge our emotional energies. If we consciously use solitude, it provides us with a space in which we can reflect, evaluate ourselves, and continually improve. Remember that solitude can be a great friend on your journey to becoming the best version of yourself. If you follow the example of the elderly and consciously seek out moments of solitude, you can find opportunities to get to know yourself better, grow, and find inner peace. Thank you for joining us on this philosophical journey. If you enjoyed our video, please like, subscribe, and comment so YouTube knows that these types of videos help people like you and we can continue to create more similar videos in the future.